I'm Lauren Green, and you're in the Strategy Room. Republican presidential candidates like Ted Cruz and Mike Huckabee are making a major play for evangelical voters ahead of the 2016 primaries. Evangelicals in the early voting states like Iowa and South Carolina could be make or break in a very crowded GOP field. But by gaining their support in the primaries, could this backfire in the general election? Here with reaction are political strategists David Mercer and Brad Blakeman. Welcome to you both.
Thanks.
Good to be you.
David, let me start with you. So how important is the evangelical vote for both Republicans and Democrats?
Well, I think a vote is a vote. Whatever the background may be, the ethnicity and so forth, gender, a vote is a vote. So you want to go after every vote. And in Iowa, it's particularly strong. And in the Republican primary or caucus, it will be very strong. And so they are going to be seeking to appeal. There's a good deal of competition between Cruz and Huckabee and Jindal. And the real question is to see how, in going after that vote, how radical they will become. And as you allude to the general election, how radical they become and put themselves out of contention or perceived contention for the general election after maybe possibly getting the nomination. And, you know, look, it's a matter of what extremes do they go to. And we've seen even Jindal, with regard to the recent court decision on gay marriage, say, let's get rid of the court. Now, that's stepping a little beyond. That's not going to get you elected to President of the United States.
Yeah, and so, Brad, could they go a little too far to the right and then just nix themselves from the general election?
No question. Look, you have to be selected by the party before you're elected by the people. And what good is selecting somebody who's unelectable? Now, having said that, the evangelical vote as a bloc is not important as it used to be as far as selectability by the party and certainly electability by the people. So the Republicans need to select somebody who is where America is in the general election. We cannot afford to disenfranchise any vote. In most states, we are outnumbered in registration. So going into the Electoral College, we're at a deficit. We're not going to win New York. We're not going to win California. So we've got to win many more places. So Republicans need to be smart and say things that they believe in on principle, but understanding that once you get selected by the party, the game is to be elected by the people.
Well, let me show you a poll, the most recent Pew Research Center poll. It shows that white evangelical Protestants, 68% are Republican, 22% are Democrat. And I preface this by saying also that actually race is the #1 predictor of how somebody will vote. But still, evangelicals, still a very large swath of voters. Are they still as influential compared to previous elections, David?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the last part of the question?
So are evangelicals still as influential compared to previous elections?
Well, I think that according to your poll and you have 14 now contenders for the nomination in the Republican Party. Part of that reason is that they're splintered. And the more they're splintered from establishment candidates or evangelical or extreme conservative, that's why you see no one hardly getting double digits in the polls. And as Brad had alluded, who's going to be the candidate that can first coalesce those interests, including the evangelicals, into a winning coalition going into the general election to expand among independents, and perhaps maybe they can try Hispanics, women, and others. But before they do that, they have to get their own splintered coalition together.
Okay, so Brad, which candidates will need evangelical support?
Every candidate for the Republican nomination will need evangelical support. They're part of our base. They're not as important as they used to be historically, but they're still a voting bloc that must be listened to. That doesn't mean pandered to, but every Republican voter needs that vote, not only to be selected, but also to be elected. They're reliable, they're part of the base, they do vote, so they must be attended to. But again, the much different tending to a voting bloc and pandering to a voting bloc. They're not real good to pander, real good to be attentive.
All right, I want to thank you so much, David and Brad. Thanks. And check out foxnews.com for more on the 2016 presidential race. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.